Here we go. Welcome to Mindfulness Monday. Although we're not in the planetarium this month or this week, we are still joined by Vivian Hermes, who is a certified mindfulness facilitator that will lead us through this mindfulness practice. So please enjoy. Vivian, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And so, welcome everyone to Mindful Mondays. And I thought what we would do, since we're not in the planetarium and we're not reclined, I thought what we would do today would be some grounding practice to begin, and then we would move into what's known as the havening technique, which is like a mindful movement practice, which is very different from what we usually do. So to begin, I just invite you to stretch up and settle into your seat. Reminder, you can do this practice seated, you can do it laying down, you can do it standing, whatever works for you today. And just take a couple of deep inhales and constructive, intentional exhales. Your eyes can be open or closed or anything in between. And then once you do that, letting your breath go to its natural rhythm. Beginning to notice the breath just as it is without changing it or shifting it. You definitely have an in-breath and an out-breath, but the in-breath has its own qualities, as does the out-breath. So noticing the beginning and the middle and the end of the in-breath. And then there is a pause before the breath turns into the out-breath. And then the out-breath has a beginning, middle, and end with a pause before it turns again to the in-breath. So you can use labels too to help you stay with the breathing. It could be very simple. You just say in for the inhale and out for the exhale. And with each exhale, letting the body loosen, soften, and get heavy. In, out. We'll continue in this way for just a brief period of silence. And as you continue to practice in this way, you might notice that the mind will wander, Notice when it has wandered, whenever it happens to be, and then guide it back to the breathing, anchoring into the in breath and the out breath. So, for the remaining time we have together, I'm going to be offering up a new set of techniques um, that are actually involving mindful, gentle movement and touch. And we continue to maintain our mindful presence and awareness as we do this practice, but we get to anchor into the body. And I'll share more about havening, is what it's called. I'll share more about how it works as we do the practice. If at any point it doesn't feel like supportive or that it's resonating, you're welcome to come back to the breathing practice or to take on any technique that you think would be helpful for the rest of our time together, knowing that we're here to support one another in our practice. And this is what I'm offering up today, but it might not necessarily be what you need in this moment, and that's fine. We're here to support one another. And so if you want to practice havening, we're going to do three different techniques. And the first one is putting our palms together, holding them high, um, and rubbing them finger to end of palm in this way. And as you do this, noticing the sensations that are happening, noticing which hand is giving the touch and which one is receiving it at any given moment. Might notice temperature. You might notice coolness or dampness. You can do this at whatever pressure or pace feels comfortable for you. You can also do this practice like so. So it's helpful. And continuing to take notice. You might notice a warming that might be happening. Another way that you can support yourself with havening is by crossing your arms, starting with the shoulders and caressing your arms down to your elbows. So the practice is only in a downward motion. Havening actually supports the down regulation of our nervous system. It sends signals through our skin receptors and nerves that are hardwired and only specialize in recognizing soothing touch. So again, practicing with, experimenting with pressure and pacing. You don't have to go at my pace. You can go slower, faster, whatever feels soothing, nourishing. So you can offer yourself the touch with the hands, resting the arms. But another way that we can practice with this is with the face. And we do this by crossing our forehead and coming down the sides of our cheeks. And if you have glasses on, you may want to take them off. And you're welcome to close your eyes to really feel the focus on the sense of touch. Sometimes when we have our eyes open, it competes for our attention with the physical sensations. And also go across the cheeks and down. And also go as high around the hairline and come down. That's helpful. Mm. And as you do this, you can vary it up. You can do it on the face or on the arms or with the hands. I invite you to pay special attention to your breathing so as to eliminate that pause between the in breath and the out breath so that the breath feels perpetual, that it's constantly in motion. So these nerves are hardwired into the emotional centers of the brain to send signals that convey safety and connection and love. And so we can actually use those words to help support us. Safe, connected, love, safe, connected, love. Bearing it up as you would like. Face, hands, arms. So this practice actually stimulates the body's system that nourishes and heals. We can recognize that when we get more positive, we open up to opportunity. And when we open up to the opportunities in front of us, it makes us more creative. It also stimulates us to be more resourceful when we are creative. So it has a rippling effect. Now, continuing in this way for just a bit more, letting the practice slow down to a stillness and letting that practice go whenever you're ready. Noticing what that was like for the body. What was it like for the mind? And what was it like for the emotions or feelings? I invite you now to reflect on one need that you recognize in yourself in this moment. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual, it could be emotional. We all have needs. Let's bring at least one to the forefront. As you recognize that need, identify one skillful thing that you can do to support yourself in meeting that need. And if there's more than one, you can identify those and one skillful thing you can do to support yourself. There might be one in each category: physical, emotional, spiritual, mental. And now, as we round out this period of practice, I invite you to take a deep breath in and out. at your own pace, doing it a couple of times to bring your awareness back into the space that you're in. So, shifting your vision from near to far, up and down, side to side, stretching or moving, whatever feels supportive, yawning. I want to thank you all for joining this practice period today. And I hope you have a beautiful week ahead of you and take good care of yourself.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Very different not being in the
Right?
planetarium, but uh,
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And this is our last session for the spring, and hopefully we'll see you back in the fall. So thank you very much for everybody that attended. Have a
Yeah. Thank
great
you.
rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.